You're listening to Mortgage Lending Mastery. Get the knowledge you need to advance your mortgage practice quickly and efficiently from Jen Duplessis, America's mortgage mastery mentor with over 37 years of experience and over $1 billion in lifetime fundings. Jen has been mentoring loan officers and realtors for over 15 years and speaking on stages across the globe. So settle in and get ready as Jen and her guests share their experience, passion, and strategies to help you crack the top producer code to reach new heights in your business. And now, here's your host, Jen Duplessis, Mortgage Mastery Mentor and head chick in charge of Kinetic Spark Consulting.
Well, hi there, and welcome back to this episode. I am so excited today. We have an encores once in a while. We bring on guests that we've had on before, and that is the case with Bernardo Moya. Bernardo, welcome to the show.
Thank you, and delighted to be back again. Thank you for inviting me, Jen.
Thank you. So where are you joining us from right now?
I'm in Spain. I'm in Spain, the south of Spain, in a little town called Fuengirola.
Awesome. I wasn't sure if you were up in London because I knew you went up there and I was there, but we didn't cross paths, and that happens. But I'm so excited to have you on here. Last time that you were on here, we were talking about the love event, right? That unfortunately COVID had maneuvered so many times. We ended up doing live, online, which was fantastic, with thousands of people showing up. And, I had my own little faux pas with all the technology that day, but it was a great event. And I want you to just tell us a little bit about the love event, because it does bring us to the point of what we're going to talk about today. One of the things is the Best You Expo, which we won't talk about that right now, but tell us about your experience with the love event and what your intent was as you brought that on.
Yeah, I think with my experience in promoting events all over the years, I've felt that, and especially I think with the pandemic, COVID, and everything that's happened to the world, these last 3 years, there seems to be so much tension, and I think there's never been a more important time to really explore what brings us together, and that was the idea of the love event, which wasn't about relationships. It was more about how can we elevate consciousness, how can we become better humans, what connects us, what brings us together. And obviously the idea around love and sharing love and talking about love and being loving and kind is something that I wanted to put together in an event. And yes, the intention was to do it in person. Unfortunately, we had to do it virtually, but yeah, I loved it. And I thought there was some great energy. And it's funny with the book and the love event, how so many great people have come to me. And I've felt the very deep connections and a lot of empathy and people really feeling aligned with the whole concept and the idea of the event.
Yeah. One of the things that I loved about the event is all of the speakers that you brought are just vulnerable, right? Me included, even though I spoke about business, others were speaking about love and empathy and spirituality, right? I brought this business piece of it. Of course, loving yourself, as much as you love that business that you have. But, what I really loved is that everybody was so authentic. And we sometimes that word is so overused these days, about being authentic, but maybe I should say raw and real and, flawed. And accepting of that flaw and talking and sharing about that flaw so that others could see that, even with our flaws, we should love each other and love ourselves. And I think that's what that event did, from my perspective. That's what I think it did. So I thought that was a beautiful event. So that leads us into a lot of love. A lot of love with and now you should have this, but I'm going to hold it up, right? Your new book that you were so kind to send to me. Thank you so much. And it was so funny. It's almost like it should be loving, right? Instead of evolving, a man evolving. I want to talk to you about the book. And that was really the reason I wanted to bring you back on the show, is that, I thought the book was brilliant. I have a couple of questions for you. I'm so excited to learn a little bit about this. But, in a world where it's so much about empowering women, I love that you came out with something about the evolving man. So tell us a little bit about why you felt compelled or pulled or called to, create a book about the man evolving?
Yeah, I think, Jen, my experience, well, funny enough, well, it's a terrible, scary fact, but, male suicide is one of the biggest killers in the world, and I feel us men, to many degrees, we tend to take and keep our pain inside, and we don't tend to share how we're feeling or what we're experiencing. And yet, we should be open to share what we feel. And I've gone through my own personal journey and my own personal experiences where I have been for a very long time a man that was very stressed, very, I worked very hard, and I felt very alone for a long time during that process of building a business. And although I did have my former wife, and I used to share a lot of the stuff with her, I really suffered it alone. I lost my dad at the age of 15. I never had a psychologist or anyone talking to me ever. My brother, he was 7. So I know the impact it's had in his life. I can see it, and I've experienced it, him growing up as a man. And he is, unfortunately, I think it's marked him. So I found that going through that period where then I separated from my wife, and I went through a really dark moment. My mum died. It just all kept piling up, and then, well, falling out of love with my missus, and then, falling in love again, and then the loss of my mum. So I went through this period of really trying to understand and explore what I was going through, and the best way I could find some kind of therapy was by writing it, and because it really helped me, and that's what I did. I started putting all these things together, and eventually it became a book. I was really looking at writing a book which was a little bit more scientific around love and history of love,
Right.
But I wanted this came on top, and it's been hard. It was very difficult, and it was just really difficult. It took me a year and a half to put it together, and as I was writing, I was feeling extremely vulnerable and extremely I don't know, in a very dark place, but if anything, it helped me, and that was it really. So with a different hat on, Bernardo, the promoter, started realizing that there's not that many speakers or men that would share these experiences, and I thought, well, why are we so happy to talk about our business and our business success, and everything's great on Instagram, we all look happy, but yet we're all suffering. So yeah, I think, as you pointed out, with the love event, it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to share kind of what you're feeling, and that was the idea of the book.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I definitely have a couple questions because I've read the book, but my 2 favorite chapters were passion and attraction. Those were my 2 favorite chapters, and I wonder if that is because I speak to passion and client attraction all the time, if that kind of bled into my sense of what love was, or is, right, is, the passion that's behind it and the attraction that you have, because, I'm coming up on my 40th wedding anniversary. And, and I just, as I was going through that, and he needs to read this. I was hoping it was going to come out on audio because he doesn't like to read as much as I do, but we're always trying to find the passion in our relationship, and we're always trying to maintain that attraction, because over time, it sort of dissolves a little bit unless you've been married as long as I have. You can't really understand that, is that we're always chasing that. We're always trying to find ways to spice it up and to, keep wanting them. Obviously, we're best friends. Obviously we have loads and loads of respect for one another, and there's a level of love. But as I was reading this book, I was thinking, about him the whole time, is where's his level of love? Does he look at me the same way? When you did the chapter of she, right? Does he look at me like that? Does he think of me those ways? Does, am I just a hand, or is my hand really important, the way you kind of shared that? So what is your favorite chapter in what you put together? When you think about all those chapters, I'm sure you love them all, but there's got to be one that really is the most important to you, and why?
Wow. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for the insight, because it's helpful to understand, because I think I say this at the beginning of the book. I think the book will probably be aligned to certain people, certain chapters will be more aligned to certain people, depending on who they are or where they are in their life. And some, kind of may sound, interesting as far as maybe they went through a stage of broken heart. Broken heart is a very interesting chapter to me, because it seems to be one of the longest ones. So obviously, there was a lot of pain there.
I was counting pages.
Yes, I think
I was counting pages.
Sorry,
I was counting pages because there was another chapter that was almost as long, and I was like, oh boy, he really had a lot to talk about here. So it's interesting that you brought that up too, Yeah. So broken heart, I mean, I feel like that's what you experienced,
Yes, but passion is it was definitely an important one. I think she is also, but then I love falling in love, and then also I think at the end, the book was obviously, it goes through the whole process. I think kind of thoughts in my mind, which is where I kind of freestyle on everything. Really is where kind of I feel healed now, and I feel that kind of this is what I could contribute, and moving on. Moving on is a great one, because it's just simply, hey. And one of the things I wanted to say, Jen, is that I want people to really understand that if I'm talking about broken heart, although I may be writing it as me, I've always wanted to empathize for someone else. And I'm saying is the process or the pain that maybe an ex-lovers went with me, or my ex went with me. So I'm not really only writing it for me. I'm trying to empathize what other people may be thinking, or maybe experienced at that time. So I've really tried to empathize with everyone and anyone in the different chapters.
Yeah. Where are you now? Where are you now in this evolution? Where are you now? You've moved on, but I'm sure you've re-entered. You have a re-entry, an entry that happens too. So because part of evolution is it doesn't end. It regurgitates itself in a different level, right? So where do you think you are in the process for yourself now?
Yeah, I think if anything, I'm and you know what it is, Jen. You know what it's like when you write a book, and you've written quite a few. When you finished it, and you think you finished it, and then you're going to carry on adding something else, and then you think you're going to. So I've gone through this process as well, where I kept on adding stuff to it, and even now I'm translating it into Spanish, and I've added a couple of extra quotes to it, and I promise I won't do anything else. But I think if anything, I'm now a man that has evolved through that process, and if anything, now is trying to philosophize more around generically becoming better humans, in really being kinder and sharing love, and really understanding kind of the essence of life. Yeah. I'm 58. I was just 50 yesterday, and if anything, one of the things that I write in the book is that our reality is our mortality. So the closer I'm getting to kind of realizing that I might be at the end of my life, I simply want to be able to express myself more freely than ever.
Yeah.
But everything aligned around becoming a better human. I have to become a better human. So that's my objective.
That's so beautiful, because, everything about a man evolving is internal, right? It's self-assessment. How am I reacting? How are they reacting? It's all internal. And so now what's happened is you sort of broken out of the shell, and now it's all external. It's the impact and the significance that you're going to do in the world, and not just for your person. Right. So that's the evolution I see that you're doing. Okay. So I've got a question for you. Just so that everyone who's listening understands, this book, pretty interesting. It's not, we're cavemen and we've evolved, and, we found fire. It's not that kind of evolution. This book is filled, every single page, with poetry. It is just filled, to me, it's all poetry. And I started wondering, did he write this? And then I said, no, he definitely did. So why, or what compelled you, or what drew you to want to write it in sort of this poetic way, and it doesn't rhyme all the time either. It's really, it's almost like a beatnik kind of thing. It's like, I walked down the street, I saw a dog, and I got in a car, right? And everybody's like, yay, it's really good. I love that it's not necessarily poetic in a way that sometimes poetry has so many undertones that I can't understand what the poetry is about. That is not the case here. It's real, it's raw, it's feelings. So where did this come from?
Jen, you've kind of really nailed every single thing about the book. I'm just kind of like in awe and so grateful to you, because that's exactly it. I love poetry, but sometimes I feel that I don't consider myself a poet at all. I don't consider myself a great writer, but I am a thinker, and I am someone that can materialize thoughts, sometimes relatively eloquently, or I can relatively put them clearly together. And sometimes they do rhyme, but I feel that a lot of the times the poets focus more in the rhyme than the actual essence of the thought. So for me, it was more about that. It was about expressing something that can be very simple, but needs to be understood and needs to be felt. So even with the illustrations in some of the pages, you see that kind of, I've tried to put an illustration that would really emphasize that thought. And also I think less is more. And simple, because I'm dyslexic. You were just telling me about your husband, and I'm dyslexic as well, so I struggle reading. But you see, I've always felt, and it's not because it's my book, and it is to a degree because it's my book, but I feel that I could read certain chapters very quickly, and for me it was about that, and I also needed to kind of sink in. So no, spot on, and that's kind of that was what I was hoping, and it's a difficult one, because I think I write in the book, Jen, that there's a big disclaimer there about me and my flaws as a man and the mistakes that I've made, and if I could do things again, I would do them differently. But I know that I have been judged. I know I will be judged for my thoughts. But at the end of the day, all I'm saying here is that I've simply come from a place of love, and all I'm trying to do is just to simply put my hands up and say, listen, I'm not perfect. I've made these mistakes. And if anything, we should be able to express love and share love and talk about love and be honest. I think one of the things that I would really like this book to do is for relationships to be able to express themselves better. And for men, most importantly, to be able to communicate better with their other halves. And that's my experience, because although I've always been loving and romantic, I didn't feel that many times I expressed my love. So for me, being able to put it out there, and some people might consider some of these thoughts cheesy, I don't really care. I'm simply doing it because it's helped me, and I hope it can help someone else.
Yeah. Did you do the illustrations yourself? Or did you have someone do
No,
it?
I wish. If I would have done the illustrations, I don't think anyone would have continued reading.
I thought they were, I love the simplicity of them. I love that whoever the artist was, fantastic, because the illustrations also, express a lot. And by the way, everyone who's listening, they're just black and whites. They're just, tucked in little corners of the book and things like that. But they express the emotion that you're trying to share, in that particular chapter. And sometimes when I turn the chapter, I'm like, whoa, this is what we're going to be talking about in this chapter, because it was there for me, to see. So it's R-rated, right? It's not X-rated, it's just R. But in that, in that one particular page, but the other thing is, my daughter saw the book when she came over. You've met Whitney, and she saw the book when she came in. She said, oh my gosh, Bernardo did a book. And she said, I didn't get one. You don't have to send her one. Don't worry. But I said, yeah, you should really read it, honey. And she started reading some chapters, and she said, when you're done, I said, well, I'm finished. She goes, well, when Dad's done, I said, well, we'll hope to get him. But she said, I want to read each chapter, and then I'm going to read a chapter, hand it to my husband. He's going to read the same chapter, and then we're going to talk about the chapter and talk about ways that we could express ourselves better because of the chapter. So know that this is getting out in the world, and it's being done in a way that fits the person, the reader, whatever works for them. If they're reading a chapter and then they want to journal it, or they want to talk to their spouse about it, or their significant other, or they want to do it together. I think that it's getting out there, in that manner. This reminds me of a book that I can't remember the exact name of, but and I don't even know who the author is, but it's a woman. And she said in the book is sort of along lines of this. It's letters to my 21-year-old self, right? And this is basically what she did. Is she was approaching 60. She wrote these letters to herself saying, this is what you might want to consider doing. Like you had said, I'm human. I make mistakes. I've made mistakes. I have flaws. I'll make more. This was her telling herself that it's okay. But here's, if you wanted to do it again, right? You had said, I would do it all over again. There are little things that you'd want to do differently, right? And it reminds me of this letter, and it's the man's version of this letter. So I think it's just absolutely fantastic. What would you want to say to the reader who is thinking about this book and saying, gosh, I think I might need to get this book? Say something, or tell the reader something that you'd like for them to experience in the book.
Well, my previous book is called The Question, Find Your True Purpose. And obviously it's packed with hundreds of questions. And within that book, one of the most important quotes is that the quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Mm-hmm. This book, at the end of each chapter, has questions where hopefully I'm enticing. So, kind of when I talk about her, I talk about, what is it about her that you love? Is it the way she touches you, the way she holds you? Is it the way that she speaks to you? Is it how she makes you feel comfortable at home? So I ask these questions, and then when was the last time you told her? Why not tell her now? So, I ask those questions at the end of it. So all I hope is that a particular chapter, or hopefully a number of chapters, or maybe the whole book, but I hope a number of chapters ignites something that can closer, that can bring them closer. Life's too short, and sometimes we regret what we don't say. For example, I get pretty choked up with my mum. There's a lot of thoughts about my mum, and I have so many regrets. I've told my mum dearly how much I love her many, many times, but there's so many more things I could have said, I should have said. So I write to her, and those are the things. Sometimes if you can't explain it or say it personally, because that might be, leave a little love note. I'd love to leave a little post and just stick them in her shoes, or put them in their jacket or coat, or simply just send a little message or a voice message. It's those things just have a phenomenal significance. You know what it's like, Jen. You've had people that have encouraged you, pushed you, helped you, and on the other hand, you've had people that have done completely the contrary. So the impact of a word or words can become enlightening for someone's life and really bring them on the path that they need to. So if anything, I just hope it encourages people to communicate better and to express love.
I'm laughing, not because it's funny what you're saying. I just, that I have a really strong relationship with my daughter, and that I also just got back from England and Europe. And as I was unpacking throughout the 18 days that I was there, and taking out clothing that I wanted. So my daughter had a total of 17 little sticky notes in there from her. Just, tucked in a shoe, inside my makeup bag, inside, she just had them. And so when you brought that up, I was like, gosh, she's just known for that, and to have 17 of these, well, I shouldn't say, there were 16 from her and 1 from my husband. So she must have gone to him and said, hey, write something to mom. Right. But I think that this love that you're talking about is also, it crosses not just the relationship between a man or woman or significant others, but it also crosses the relationship, like you said, with your mom, with your kids, with your cousins, colleagues that you have a strong bond with. It does cross over that. And I think it's important to share with people. So absolutely beautiful book. I just wish you all the best as it continues to grow. And I can't wait to hear you speak about it at the Best You. So let's leave our time together talking about the Best You Expo. Tell us, when is this happening? What's it all about? And of course, we'll have links for people to get registered.
Thank you, Jen. Well, look, the Best You Expo was the event that I'm best known for. It was the event I did in London for 4 years, and then I did one in the US, and I did quite a few virtual ones. And then just before the pandemic, we had to postpone. So we're back in LA in 2023 at the LA Convention Center, 3rd to the 5th of March. And the format is as it has been. It's like 9 different stages, all themed differently. Love and consciousness is one of the rooms. Best for business, passion to profit, empowering women, masters, mentors, and influencers, yoga and meditation, inspiration zone. So it's all these different areas and rooms where speakers are sharing their expertise and knowledge, and they're all going on at the same time. packed with 180 booths, over 90,000 square feet. And it's just I call it a festival of learning, a festival of engaging with other people, with like-minded people. And my last experience with my last live event in London, where we had 14,000 people attending, it's just this electric energy where everyone is buzzing and everyone is just open to learn and open to engage and communicate, with beautiful love and lots of interest in exploring how everyone can become the best you. So that's what the Best You Expo is about. We're delighted to be back. We're looking at potentially having anything between 12 to 20,000 people, we hope. And yes, listen, I know you'll be sharing the link, but there's no excuses. There's free tickets for anyone to attend. There's some VIP tickets. But we would love, for people to come along and obviously meet you. You're one of our main stage speakers. You're featured. You're speaking at several stages. And there's some great people coming together to share their expertise, whatever that might be.
Yeah, I feel the excitement from here. I really do. I mean, even as we're laying out, what our booth is going to look like, what I'm speaking about, we're starting to get real excited, and have these undertones of love and energy and humanity. And, that we're just getting really excited. My team's excited. They're coming up with all these crazy ideas. And I'm going, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. It's getting a little carried away, but the energy is already starting to build even from a distance, and the fact that it's another 3 months away, 3.5 months away, we're just real excited to be part of it, and wanted to share that on the show here to inspire people to get themselves out to LA if they don't live there, and enjoy this 3-4 days. And we have a big gala that we're going to be having as well, and so we're excited about that too. And so thank you for what you're doing. This is a huge undertaking. I know it's many, 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 many hours. I know Emily is just constantly emailing us and, wanting to get information from us, and it's all good. So we're excited to be a part of it, and I encourage all of us, our listeners here, to get yourself signed up. I know at some point, are you doing a hybrid of it? I can't remember if you are. I might be getting that confused with another one.
Yes, we will provide people the opportunity to be able to log in remotely. So when people go to thebestyouexpo.com and they can just click on the link for free tickets, it says live online. We will have a live feed. Obviously, it's not every single thing happening,
right?
But it all will be recorded onto the Best You TV, and people can watch it. So
great, wonderful. Yeah. So if you can't make it, there's no excuse for not getting registered so that you can see parts of it. How many speakers do you have total right now?
Well, right now we're still at around early stages. We're probably around 30, 35 speakers. We'll probably have around 140, I think, by the time we finish, 140, 150.
Okay, good. Yeah. I mean, look how you can learn from so many people. Even 30 is a lot of learning, but to go, even higher than that is incredible. So there's opportunities for you to learn, to change, right? And create some change in your life for next year in 2023. So Bernardo, thank you, my friend. Thank you. I can't wait to see you again. I can't wait to hug you again in person.
I can't wait myself.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Thank you. I'm excited too. I'm now allowed to get into the US. I've got my visa back, so I'll be there. I'll be in LA from the 8th of January. So
that's a good thing too. Yeah, with all of the pandemic issues. So, well, again, thank you so much for what you're doing for everyone, putting all this on.
Thank you, Jen, so much.
Your story with us, and I'm just praying that it makes an impact in so many people's lives. And I know it will. So thank you again. And don't forget, everybody, please go to the link that we have below to get registered for the Best You Expo, March 3rd through the 5th, 2023 at the LA Convention Center in Los Angeles, California. We look forward to seeing you. And if you've listened to this podcast, come up to my booth, come up to Bernardo and say, I saw you on Jen's podcast. Let us know that we're making an impact. We would love to see you there. So Bernardo, thank you again for joining me today.
Jen, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm very grateful, honored and humbled that you read my book and such fantastic reviews from you, and grateful for the opportunity of sharing it here today. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Lots of love.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we go. We're good. Okay. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Jen, thank you so much. Can I just ask you something quickly? Regarding the, we've got a schedule issue with so you're in one of the smaller rooms, which was the Best for Business. We've had to create a different stage called Empowering Speakers. I wanted to accommodate you for the Saturday. It's the same time, it's just a different room. That's themed differently because is that okay?
Yeah, I think you had, I don't have
you're-
anything, I don't have anything written down. I'm just there. So I don't know when you have me, other than we leave on Sunday. We changed our schedule so that we could do the gala on Saturday night, but we leave at 10 a.m. No.
Okay.
We leave at, I think that's 10 a.m. Eastern. We leave at 7 in the morning on Sunday. So you just put me where you need me. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all scheduled. I think we run it by you, but I'm going to get Emilia to send it to you again. Okay, the names of the rooms and the times. Friday
Okay.
and Saturday.
Yep, that sounds fine. That sounds fine.
Okay.
Happy to help wherever I can.
Thank you, Jen. And Jen, if it's okay with you, once you've got this, I would love to share this interview on my podcast.
Yeah.
So if it's okay with you, I'll
do you want
the
raw? So do you want the raw version so you can do your stuff, or do you want my? Because we're here.
Yeah. Well, just send me the actual.
Yeah.
Just share the recording. All I'll do at the beginning is just do an intro and say, "Hey, in this opportunity, Jen Duplessis has interviewed me, blah blah blah," and so yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Yep. So it'll just take a little bit for it to download, but I'll have it over to Emily today, probably in the next 20 minutes.
No.
Okay. See you.
No worries. No rush at all. No rush. Thank you so much, darling. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Mortgage Lending Mastery. Be sure to subscribe to hear more sales tips, ideas, strategies, and tactics to help you with your personal and professional growth to multiply your results in record time. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a rating and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. Wanting more beyond the podcast? Join our Mortgage Lending Mastery membership community, where you will find extended interviews with our favorite guests, weekly training, tips, and insider secrets, fireside chats with Jen, free content, meet, share, and collaborate with other members, and so much more. Click the link in the show notes to learn more about this exclusive content. Mortgage Lending Mastery is an Industry Syndicate charter podcast. Industry Syndicate is the first podcast network specifically for the mortgage and real estate industries. Get the Industry Syndicate app in the App Store or Google Play today.